Just had a very interesting dialogue with Kevin Hades, Biblical Discussions. And it was a good conversation with Veckel, but Mr. Kevin needed to come in for whatever reason. And I find it interesting that people say things like, where do you find the age of Mary or the age of Joseph in the Bible? When you point out that these are cultural things, and they think that somehow the point you're trying to make is moot. And then you try to point out culturally these dynamics. And you're just doing this for a general point. And it's because people have gone so nutty that they've pushed things to certain absurd levels. And then when you try to talk them reasonably and show them where they may have made their logical errors, they come back and make stupid statements like, well, where is that in the Bible? And you're trying to really show them what the whole ordeal was about, which was a discussion about what we know in natural theology, when the heavens declare the glories of God and the skies proclaim the work of his hands. And then these people who don't even know what you're talking about and don't even have the breadth of education. Now, there's a difference between being educated and having an education. I reference having degrees because that is a measure of at least a reading list that one has gone through, and being taught some critical skills about how to research. So when you come across people that you truly know no idea about what they don't know, and then you try to point some of these things out, and then they think that you're totally out of hand when you inform them that their level of knowledge on this topic is really at such a level that it's like a kindergartner tried to argue with a college professor. And so when the college professor says, sit down, son, you're going to hurt yourself, number one, somehow I'm acting in bad faith. I don't know why the world is the way it is. Am I crazy? Or do people really just not get it? Is it the participation trophies? That just because you played the game that you're as good as the star pitcher, and somehow you think you have the right to demand that you pitch a few innings in the game too, because everybody's equal? And then you point out that you're actually a paid professional baseball player and a pitcher, and then they start whining, thinking that this is somehow asserting your education. Veckel, I want you to think through it, brother. Really think about what point I was trying to make, what I was trying to point out. Because Kevin's so bombastic, and I don't even know why you don't or can't get my point, brother. It befuddles my mind. I'm trying to talk about big picture. See, the general revelation of God, it allowed for the special revelation of God to be revealed to mankind. You see, God created the world in a particular way, and it says a lot about him. And we can look to that, and we don't have to cite a biblical verse to learn that God is love. See, Job didn't even have a Bible, and he knew that there was going to be redemption. He knew a lot of things just by contemplating reality. I don't know why the church today is so biblically illiterate and so untrained in their understanding. If we are in the last days, people, it actually says that the church in general will be full of, for lack of a better term, dum-dums, and people that actually turn from the faith and use the grace of God as a license to sin. You guys are complaining about the fulfillment of your very condition. And somebody comes in and tells you, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about, and I'm the bad guy." You've gathered yourselves teachers or teachers to tickle your ears and tell you the things you want to hear. And when I try to explain a big picture, I become vilified, misinterpreted. And then when you try to actually clear all of the smoke because everybody's ran constantly and you're interrupted so often, and then people take you out of context, it's really amazing the kind of people I come across in this world. I just cannot believe it. People really just don't get it. It's a toxic mix of a distorted view of the perspicuity of Scripture with a misunderstanding of the concept of pride. Yeah, I'm amazed, truly amazed. Yeah, I think they want a biblical proof of these early bloomers, but we're just, but glasses are blurry. But where does it say in the Bible exactly Mary was? Yeah, insert age. Yeah, it's just really interesting, and I'm just dumbfounded by the kind of people I come across that don't understand about how the culture enlightens the biblical text, and they want the biblical text to somehow reverse. If it's not there in the Bible, it must not be true. Well, how do you understand the Bible without understanding the culture in which it was given? That's the fundamental flaw that these people are doing. They're going to it nuda scriptura, thinking that somehow they have the proper fundamentalist interpretation. And then now they're judging the very culture in which that scripture was inspired in. My goodness, what pride you people have. It's amazing. I used to be sympathetic to fundamentalism, but I think it's toxic and rabid, and I may not even want to have anything to do with it because this stuff is just loony. I can't hardly believe it. It's absolutely crazy. Well, this is my rant, and I'm sure we'll do something later, Smoke Man and I. But I thought I would defend myself before all of the misinformation goes around, because I dared to tell somebody who was a dum-dum that my profession was theology, and that somehow I'm so bad because I'm using my quote unquote education. I'm not using my quote unquote education. I'll talk to anybody that has an education. I could care less. I just want to know that you know what you're talking about. I don't care what you got hanging on your wall. I'm a musician. It doesn't matter if you have a degree from Juilliard or from Berkeley. If you can jam and groove, we can play together. That's what I'm talking about. I particularly happen to be self-educated in music, but I've been educated in theology, biblical studies. So in any area, see, I have expertise. So I don't believe that only a degree validates one in one field. I was just pointing out that Mr. Dum Dum Kevin doesn't have any expertise in the area shown in being educated or having an education, like Spurgeon made the distinction. You don't need an education, but you need to be educated. That's my point, guys. And I'm really surprised I have to spell this out to you. No wonder Jesus said, "He who had an ear, let him hear." Goodness, you guys are really dumb, mute, and deaf. I'm truly shocked. Truly shocked. Yeah, it becomes a docetic text. Yeah. Only seems it's empty it's devoid of any cultural instantiation where God communicated in a culture, in a context. idioms and understandings and all this kind of stuff. Oh, no, 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 no. We empty the scripture of all of that. It just seems to be there. Anyway, thanks, Dr. Falk. Y'all have a great evening, and we'll probably be on a stream later on here. So talk to y'all soon.